Hi, thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. To my mind, there's nothing nicer than a cherry cake. And I'm going to add a little bit of extra zing to mine with pineapple. Let's go. Here are our ingredients. This is 200 grams of butter at room temperature with 200 grams of sugar. Then we have 200 grams of plain flour mixed in with a pinch of salt and a teaspoon and a half of baking powder. Here are 100 grams of ground almonds, 4 eggs. We're also going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. And here we have the stars of the show, 100 grams of glacé cherries chopped into thirds and 100 grams of fresh pineapple chunks. You can use canned pineapple if you like. The chunks are about 1 centimetre cubed. I've got a loaf pan at the ready. It's 24 centimetres by 10 and I've lined it with parchment paper, which makes the cake super easy to remove. Perhaps the most wearying part of the process is to get the butter and sugar creamed together. It's very important to get this right because it's what helps make the cake nice and light. Of course, the butter has to be at room temperature, and I've chopped it into chunks just to make things a bit easier. You cream the butter and sugar with a tablespoon and you have the back of the spoon against the mixture, and you keep on just rubbing and flipping like that till it's all pale and fluffy. And there it is, all pale and fluffy with as much air as possible incorporated. And scatter half of your ground almonds over the fruit and sort of stir it around to coat the fruit in the ground almonds. We're doing this to minimize the risk of the fruit all sinking to the bottom of the cake. Here are our eggs along with the teaspoon of vanilla bean paste, and we're going to whip them lightly together. Now we're going to add our eggs very slowly to the mixture and whip them in. To minimize the risk of the butter curdling, add a spoon of flour at this stage and keep on adding your eggs bit by bit and whipping them all together. Now we're going to pop our dry ingredients, the flour, salt and baking powder, into a sieve and add them to our mixture. And now we're going to gently fold them in, which involves stirring it around, cutting it through, stirring, cutting it through. Our purpose here is to incorporate as much air as possible. When it's mostly done, add the remaining ground almonds and fold them in. Now that we have a smooth and airy batter, it's time to add our fruits. We're going to fold these in gently too, and hopefully the fact they're all coated in ground almonds will stop the fruit from sinking to the bottom of the cake. And keep folding just enough to make sure the fruits are evenly spread throughout the batter. Get your batter into the baking tray and just level it out nicely. Pop the cake into the middle of a preheated oven. The oven's on at 175 degrees, equivalent of a gas mark 4, and we leave it there for around 40 minutes. When the cake's been baking for around 40 minutes, pop a sheet of foil over it so the top doesn't go too brown. So here it is. It's actually been in the oven for around 55 minutes. You can see those little air bubbles suggesting it'll be lovely and light. And let's double check it's cooked by piercing it with a fork. The fork has come out nice and dry, which means the cake is cooked. Switch off the oven and leave the cake to rest on the counter for about 5 minutes. Peel the greaseproof paper off, of course. Oh look, I can see the cherries. And turn it the right way up. There we go. Now leave it to cool. As you can see, the cake slices beautifully. The fruit has managed to rise as well as sink. And just a little note here, if I had used blanched crushed almonds, the cake would have been yellow, but I used almonds that were crushed with their skins on, so the sponge is a little bit brown in colour, but it is a lot tastier that way. I think it's tasting time. It's tea time too. The sponge is lovely and moist and light, and the pieces of cherry and pineapple give it a lovely zinginess. It's delicious. Enjoy!